Hello again. It's been a little bit longer than usual. Uh, many things have been happening on many levels of the parish, so it's taken me a little longer to get back here to be able to give you an update. Today we're lucky with the holiday. The workers are downstairs, so we're able to do the filming here in the upper church. So the first thing to make you aware of is that on the Granite Street side, the heat pumps are installed at this point. They've been graded and the grass has been seeded and the pipes themselves have been insulated. We're waiting now to be able to put a fence around that to protect it, make it secure, and then also to be able to do some landscaping that would camouflage or try to be able to hide the heat pumps on the granite side as well. Then our next slide shows you the same equipment on the south side of the church, between the church and the parish center. And if you can remember from the last time, you'll see that the sidewalk has been reinstalled, and now that's a much more secure and safe walking area between the two buildings. Again, we're waiting for some landscaping and some fencing to be able to complete that area, and then we'll be finished there as well. In the back of the church, if you drive by or come into the parking lot, tucked behind where the oil tanks used to be, is the service components for our new electrical service. National Grid was here today doing some work on Sumner Street. They'll be in during the week to install some new telephone poles, or utility poles, I guess is the more appropriate name. And then they'll be back on October 23rd to be able to bring that power from the street to our building using this equipment to be able to transform the power and bring it into our church. Once they do that, then we'll be able to initialize the system and commission it so that it can be able to provide us the heat that we need. We've been blessed with warm weather, but that calendar is turning and the window's closing on our warm weather. Our next slide brings us back inside the upper church, and can remember that for many months, even before we closed, before the pandemic, we had some back pews that had been cornered off, and we didn't allow people to sit there because there was a danger of the corbel falling. So this first slide gives you two different pictures. The first shows you as the plaster has been removed, the lathe that sat behind that, holding the plaster in place, that had deteriorated because of the damage from water that had seeped into the wall. And so you'll see in the next slide, on the other side of that slide, that has been repaired. In the next slide, you see that the scaffolding has been removed in anticipation of installing the wainscoting and the pews, and people will once again be able to sit there. Up in the choir loft beyond the railing, there is still some plaster repair that needs to be done. The corbel has been secured, so it shouldn't fall on anybody to cause injury or worse, but there is other work up in the choir loft that will need to be repaired going forward. The most radical change we'll see in the next few weeks, once the heating system is commissioned, is in the next slide. We see that the framing for the wainscoting has been installed now on the length of each side of the church. This now, as you will see by it, allows total access to the units that will be behind the wooden panels that will begin to be installed on November 1st. So all of what you see will at some point be covered with the stained wood, and at the top of that there will be a grate that will allow the air, whether that is heated or cooled, in order to create a more comfortable climate inside of our church. The next slide shows you the length of the wall from the front door that leads towards the courtyard all the way along the south wall to the back where the staging used to be, that has now been removed. So at this point we're waiting for the commissioning of the system and then the ability to install the wainscoting and to go forward with that. So what still needs to be done? Once the wainscoting and the pews return, then we still have some aspects that we're looking for with regard to this current phase. One of them is to relocate. It still works to be on the fire alarm system and some new lighting for the upper and the lower churches. Not all of those fixtures are available. Some of them are back ordered, they're out of stock. They won't be available until January. So we'll see a little bit of a lull in the work, probably right between the holidays, and then in January they'll come back to be able to reinstall or to install the new lights once those fixtures arrive on site. We're looking to move the organ from its location where it's been in the front of the pews to its more permanent location in the sanctuary, so that we can install all of the pews, and particularly because of the pandemic, to be able to have as much seating available for people as we can. Hopefully the sanctuary work will eventually raise it just a level, but the organ will be situated where it will be, except for that one level that needs to be raised in the next phase. The ceiling of the vestibule is being removed. Part of the concern for that is that in order to get the wiring in under the rafters or through them, we need to remove the ceiling so that we can add more lighting into the vestibule area. It's very messy and dirty work, so actually we're looking at this point, we'll put a flock note out later this week that we're looking for some volunteers to come and help on Friday to be able to clean the dust and the debris that will be caused by that, so that we can dust everything down and be able to make it clean and appropriate for our worship for this weekend. Our next slide, just as a reminder again of what our larger vision is, what we're working towards is the repainting of our sanctuary and being able to embellish our church with some beautiful stenciling and some more appropriate colors that are reminiscent of some of the original designs and decorations, and to be able to make us appreciate the architecture and the beautiful colors and the lines that are part of our church already. So where do we go after this phase? Once we get the fire alarm system installed, once our new light fixtures arrive and the lighting is installed and we're able to finally close this chapter, most of our funds are pretty much used in what you have donated and we have received. There's still work that we want to do, so we're hoping to be able to look at an upgrade, improvements to our sound system, in particular something that would be an assist to people with hearing impairment. We're looking to redo some work in the vestibule, perhaps with a corbelled ceiling or paneled ceiling, maybe some clear glass panels at the bottom, so that people can take children when they become disruptive out there, still be able to watch and participate in the Mass while there's a certain distance or a sound barrier that the vestibule walls and screen can be able to create. So we're looking then to make our improvements into the sanctuary and to be able to go forward with that. So we are able to do all of this because of the generosity of our parishioners. So we're grateful for those who continue to donate, those who, in spite of the pandemic, are being faithful to their pledges, those who contribute to our second collection. Even though we don't pass the basket, they still come up and make donations, and others who do the wonderful, generous gift of contributing electronically, which helps to keep our staff safe and healthy as well. So you can click on this widget on this particular slide if you have not contributed, if you'd like to. We need the help of every member of our parish. We're hoping that as you see this work and begin to appreciate the comfort that it will bring to our worship, you realize that we need your help, we need your support. There's much more that we need to do, and we're hoping to be able to go forward with that. So we're grateful for the work that's done. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks you'll be able to feel the difference as well as to see it. So our thanks to you. Thank you very much. Muito obrigado. Muchísimas gracias. Please keep us in your prayers, and God to bless the work that we do for his glory and in your name. Thank you once again.